So season three of Reacher comes out later this week, and I wanted to go back and kind of rewatch the earlier seasons to take a little look at, how did they really do a good job transitioning book to screen, right? Because I've read most of the books. I think I've read them all actually, but I'd have to check, but because they still come out, so on occasion. But I wanted to go back and watch the first two seasons and say, look, how good was that transition from one to the other? And season one, it's a pretty good transition, right? I mean, they didn't really change the story at all. Reacher kind of shows up in this town, and of course, trouble follows Reacher wherever he goes. So, bodies start falling around him, and did he do it? Did he not do it? He's a stranger in this little bitty town in Georgia that never has anything go wrong. All of a sudden, this giant shows up, and people start dying. So, was it him? Was it somebody else? What's really the deal here? What does he know? What doesn't he know? And then, which cops are corrupt, which cops aren't corrupt, who's in on the action, who's not in on the action. I'm trying not to spoil it if you haven't seen it. But the story does get kind of deep into a lot of what makes Reacher Reacher. So you have all these flashback scenes that actually came out of some other stuff that wasn't in this book. They were short stories and other snippets from the different series, the different books in the series along the way. But it really does do a great job of transitioning to screen. I think it did a good, solid job of transitioning book to screen. Now, there's some kind. Reacher, of course, is written as this gigantic guy. He does use his brain before he punches people, but how do you really transition this big hulking guy who's super smart and everything to screen? And the first attempt at that was, of course, Tom Cruise, who's anything but large. And when he comes off as trying to be snarky, it doesn't necessarily work all that well unless he's playing Les Grossman. And then it works perfectly. But the Tom Cruise movies are great, but Alan Ritchson, and I think he did as good a job as anybody out there. There's one or two actors I might have picked that might have taken it a slightly different direction, but I think he did great. I think he came as close to Reacher as we're going to see in film anytime soon. And with season three coming out, I'm really looking forward to it. But if you haven't seen season one, if you haven't read this book, this is the season one was actually derived from the debut novel by Lee Child. This is my copy. It's actually a first edition, so um, I'm trying to be careful with it. But if you haven't seen it, well worth taking the time. Reacher, if you don't know, is a retired military policeman from the Special Investigator Group. So when he shows up, there's always a big problem to go solve. Former cop, sort of retired out of the military, and then wound up just sort of wandering the U.S. He's a great interesting character. Um, Highly recommend at least reading one of the books, but the series does a great job of transitioning to screen as much as anybody can. But you do get a little bit better look inside Reacher's head if you read the books, and they're not difficult reads. They don't take very long. So highly recommend both the book and the series. And I think it's a rational translation to screen. I don't think it missed a whole lot of beats. I think it did as good a job as you're going to see anytime soon. So I hope everybody has a great day. The new season drops this coming Thursday, or if you watch this video later, the new season's already out. But it's over on Amazon Prime. And no, they don't pay me to do this. I just do it for fun. Everybody have a great weekend and or week or whatever time you see this video, and we'll talk soon.